Welcome to the Wealthy Business Goddess Show for purpose-driven, passion-fueled spiritual entrepreneurs ready to live their purpose, passion and prosperity as they create the life and business of their dreams whilst transforming the world, doing what they love and making fabulous money. Each week we bring you inspiring and empowering topics, popular thought leaders to empower you to transform all areas of your life and business. With your host, spiritual intuitive, entrepreneur, transformational business coach and mentor, Kimberly Lovell.
Hello, sweethearts. It's Kimberly Lovell here from the Wealthy Business Goddess Show, and pleasure to be with you here today and to have a wonderful guest, a beautiful friend of mine, Anna Grace Taylor. Let me tell you a little bit about Anna. She's amazing. So Anna is an angel therapist, a theta healing practitioner, a singer-songwriter, motivational speaker and writer, and she's been featured on BBC Radio and Hay House Radio, Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling books. Using her natural intuitive gifts developed by years of training and experience, Anna connects with divine love and guidance to support people with all aspects of life and often acts as a catalyst for transformation for people all over the world. Anna's currently living in England. She's a loving and compassionate woman with remarkable ability to empathise and communicate, sharing her daily messages of grace and weekly angel reading videos with millions of people on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram. Yay, Anna, welcome.
That's kind of strange when you hear it read back to you when I'm sitting there. It's like, oh, that's really nice. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited that, you're here. We were just saying it's been a little while.
It has.
Connected and
yeah. So it's really lovely to have an opportunity to talk to you on video like this.
Yes. Yeah. So, where should we start? How about you tell us a little bit about what put you on your spiritual pathway?
Okay, so as a young child, I was really sensitive but had no idea really what that meant. I did not grow up in a household where spirituality was talked about. In fact, my dad is an atheist, so it was very much like, well, you can believe what you want to believe. The good thing about that is that he never told us what to believe or what not to believe. It was very open that way. And my mum, again, she has some belief and she talks about things like this, and she actually is very psychic herself really, but she just doesn't use it so much. But I grew up in a household where I didn't understand energy. I just saw myself as being a very overwhelmed, oversensitive person, and really got very sick actually because of that, or one of the reasons was because of that. And at 14 years old, I had major surgery to help the disability that I was born with. I was born very early, along with my sister, my twin sister, and the brain damage caused me to have cerebral palsy, which means that I don't walk in the same way as most people. So I had this surgery, and it was a big promise, you're going to walk really freely and you're going to do this and you'll be able to do this. And instead, because I had multiple anesthetics, multiple medications, a lot of stress, obviously, for one reason or another, my body crashed. And I really was very unwell for a long time. I had to stop schooling. I had tuition for some of the time. I was really unable to live a teenage life, or even really in my early 20s. I was very unable to do all of the things that you would expect someone that age to do. And so while everyone else was out, doing their partying and studying and all of this, it was a big deal for me literally to have a meal with someone. It was a big deal for me to, see a friend. It was, that was my social life for a very long time. And I just went on a search really for my own health and well-being. I had reflexology and aromatherapy, acupuncture, healing treatments, and it was then that I not only met incredible people that really were very, very selfless, very open, very understanding to my whole well-being. I started to feel energy through me. And I
Mm.
think I always had, but I didn't know what that was. So I just thought everyone felt that, you know. And I think we all do, honestly. But it's just that some of us are more aware of it. And I was given the opportunity, I guess, I say that I was given the opportunity earlier on in life to understand that. So I was
Yeah.
probably about 17 when I had those first experiences. And through that time, I then opened myself up to angels and to the fact that I had always believed in something other than myself. And it was 2001, so I was 20 years old when I really had my first sort of profound angel experience, and it really changed my life and the way that I viewed the world, and brought me to take Doreen Virtue's angel therapy practitioner class, which is really where I learned to do a lot of what I do now. So it's been a lifelong thing, and it still continues. I mean, even in the last 10 years, my whole life and the work that I do has really transformed. But that was the big starting point. So
Yeah. So it's been a long journey. A long
long
journey.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I always feel like when it's your own journey at the time, you're just kind of living it, and you understand that it's major, and you understand that it's transformative, but it's not until you look back that you really see the opportunity that I was given to look at life, I guess, in a different way. And so even though I wouldn't
Sure.
necessarily want to repeat that, I also understand now that I can really empathize with a lot of different things and a lot of different people, and to really understand that we're not alone, I think is a key thing. Even now, with all the stuff going on in the world, and people's lives changing, and people deciding that they're going to completely turn their lives upside down and back to front, which is really what's happening in the world. For me, even though we may not have all been through the same experiences, if we understand what that's like, we can understand that on a deep level for most people, right? So
yeah, and I like what you're talking about. In essence, I think is the gifts that we gain. We learn through all of our experiences, and it's about the soul's journey. So the soul puts us on our pathway, and on a conscious level, on a human level, we may say that we wouldn't choose that.
Yeah.
But it's great to have that higher perspective and to understand, and it's not always easy when we're in it, but to actually look back and to see, and if we can realize even when we're in it, that where is the gift, what's the opportunity I'm being given, and what is it that my soul is wanting me to experience and learn.
For sure, I really believe that, and I've felt it most, actually, even in the last 2 years. I've really had a sense of my pain turning into my power, and really had that kind of full circle feeling of like, oh right, okay. And I'm 36 now, and it's like, it's quite nice to feel that. I mean, lots of people would see that as quite young, but for me, because it's been double that amount of time that I have been kind of conscious, aware of energy and my own gifts and people and all of that, for me it feels like, oh wow, this is amazing, because I really feel more myself than I ever have. And I don't know about you, but there kind of comes a point in your life where you feel like, oh yeah, this makes sense to me. Although actually, as I was saying to someone else, the whole point is really to realize we have no idea what we're doing, and we're just kind of going along and just going, wow, actually embracing the uncertainty of life, because that is the gift also that I've been given, is that you never know what's going to happen. And that's not in a fearful way. That is really just about being present and living in the moment, and saying, where can I draw from this experience? What's it teaching me? And how can I make the most of my life? And because I've never had the 9-to-5 job, I've never done the things that everyone else would maybe be trying to get away from, I really try and live the best that I can to say, you know, I'm really conscious of, this is something I really love, that I get to do conversations like this with you, you know.
It's fun, isn't it? That's what I love as well, that, you know, we're able to connect with people all over the world, and you know, technology opens up such great opportunities for us.
Huge.
Yeah, a lot has changed over the years, you know, and I'm sure for you, and I know for myself, in terms of working as a therapist, and now we're able to work with people all over the world.
I have to say, you know, I live in a small village in England, about an hour from London. So, you know, I was just in London yesterday, had a very powerful experience going to see the Princess Diana exhibition at Kensington Palace. It was beautiful and profound, and I feel, actually, it's really wonderful that I'm speaking to you now, because I feel very inspired by that. I feel her presence very strongly, and I know we were talking about the divine feminine, and we both work very closely with, you know, that energy and us as women. And, you know, to me, she was the embodiment of that. And she certainly turned her pain into her power, didn't she?
For sure.
So I'm just very aware of that, really, you know, and how we all can, you know, be in one part of the world, and yet technology can have us both talking, you know, internationally. And most of the people that I see, actually, or talk to, or do sessions with, or, you know, do readings or coaching or whatever people want, you know, are not really on my doorstep at all. You know, most of the work I do are with people in America. And you know, I just love that. I never ever would have dreamed about that. You know, 18-year-old me would have thought I was completely crazy, and, you know, that I would never have the life that I have now. So even though it's mysterious, and some parts of my life are perhaps not unfolding in the way that I perhaps hoped or dreamed, there are other things that are just beyond that, and I'm so grateful. And technology has got a lot to answer for that reason. So it's amazing, isn't it?
Let's talk about you talked a little bit about the challenges and the transforming the pain into power. Do you want to say a little bit more about how what have been your kind of key learnings from how to actually transform the pain into power? How has that worked for you?
Well, you know, my big thing, you know, we all have a wound, or something that really has deeply affected us, and for me that's been my body. You know, because of the fact that I was born with a different body that didn't move as easily, and has always been a challenge. And then I had an illness on top of that, which pretty much some of the time had me not even be able to get out of the house. And, you know, having a shower was a major event, and, you know, all of that stuff. And then you kind of go out into the world, and people are constantly judging each other for how they look, and you know, what they are, and, you know, how they are in the world. I think that has been such a deep pain for me, and has continued to bring up stuff, and still does. You know, it's not an easy thing to feel judged or to feel different. We all have that. But it's given me such a huge opportunity to see beyond that, and to see that who we are is so much more than our bodies, which of course the angels tell us all the time anyway, right? But for me to really own that, and to really work with people on their own self-love, has been major, because I believe that if we all loved ourselves, then the world would be completely different, and also it would affect every experience that we have in our lives, right? So I don't believe that anything that we have or don't have is separate from our ability to love ourselves at all. So the fact that we spend a lot of time going, oh, she's like this, he's like this, look at her, look at this, it's all kind of a story, isn't it? So I feel like one of my biggest sense of power and and gift is to remember that, and to remember that we're so much more than all of the stories and all of the appearances that we may have. And and to me, that when I deepen my connection with myself, the all the other stuff, like our money, we were talking about that earlier as well, weren't we? Like our money, our relationship with other people, our health, our body image, all of that is completely affected by our ability to love ourselves.
Completely.
There is nothing, is there is nothing else but that, because we are love, we are that love, and being as in touch with that as we can, and not seeing ourselves as separate from another person, is the key to everything, I think.
I was talking about this the other day with someone, and how, you know, my I don't think it's just my belief. We're saying similar things here, but it's like, you know, if you imagine a world where everybody is happy and joyful and fulfilled, and they feel like they're living their purpose, you know, when we're happy, we don't have a need for wars or conflict, you know, and hunger and all of that. You know, it would be, love is the answer to all of our world problems.
It is, it is, you know, and people often say to me, you know, what's my purpose, Anna? Or you know, or even ask me, Anna, what's your purpose? And I always say the same thing, you know, it's love. It is love. And the other details that we have, like the fact that you know, you work with business and helping women in one way, and I work in another way. It's all the same thing, honestly.
Exactly.
It's just that we're all kind of pulling the threads together and helping each other in those different ways, but it comes down to the same thing.
Oh, for sure. I mean, a lot of the work that I do with people is about really supporting them in clearing their mindset, but it's very much about self-worth, self-love, you know, visibility issues in business, money issues. It kind of comes back to love. Everything comes back to love, doesn't it?
It does. And you know, I don't know about you, but it's interesting. It's almost like people, you can tell where people are struggling with that, because even when you talk about that, people don't want to know, you know, like they're like, oh no, I don't want to go there, or oh no, I'll deal with that another time, just tell me how I get that money, or tell me, you know,
exactly,
or just tell me how I can meet my soulmate, or whatever. It's like, well, actually, just hold on a second, you know, because they don't want to really go there, and it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to do that. But that's why we're doing what we do, and why we show up each day and be an example of that. By the way, though, it doesn't mean that we have perfect lives either. It doesn't mean that we're exempt from any of that. And I always say I teach self-love. I teach that because I'm learning it all the time. I constantly have to live it. I make a decision every day. What's loving to me? How can I be kinder to myself? Am I having a day where I want to jump out of my own skin? Yes. Okay, so what can I do to help me to love myself more? And so it's not, you know, it doesn't mean that we're not doing this all the time. We're just able to share the wisdom a bit more, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Kind of that whole thing about how we compare ourselves to others, and how we, especially when we're online, that we can see people and they appear a certain way, and you know,
it's all a bit.
We're human.
It's all a bit smoke and mirrors, a little bit. Look at this picture that I took in this place, and oh, look at this workshop I did. You know, even that it can be a bit of a trap, can't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. So and of course, you know, we were talking about other people's judgments or perceptions, and really they're teaching us how to live without judging ourselves and without judging others, and there's always that little voice that's kind of like a running commentary in the background, right?
I actually, you know, when I was dealing with major anxiety around that time that I talked about in my early 20s, I remember working with a dear friend of mine now. She's a hypnotherapist, but she's a great person and she's still in my life. And she used to get me to imagine that my fear and my anxiety, whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it your ego or your pain or whatever, was actually a thing outside of me. So it was like seeing it maybe as this blob of energy or this color or this shape, just to remind myself that this was something that was happening and I was in touch with it, but it wasn't who I am, you know, and that's so important to remember, because we can kind of get so we can get ourselves into a lot of trouble by doing that, can't we? But really kind of going, oh right, okay, this is this thought that I'm having, this is this pattern that keeps running around in my head, okay, let me look at it. And I think even that, having that awareness, can help each other and a lot of people, because we feel like that is the only thing that is ever going to be present for us. It's going to be the only thing that's going to rule our lives, or even that comparison thing, like I'm never going to feel differently about that, or you know, that person is always going to feel better at that than me. But that's just a story, right? It's just a story.
And this, I think, you know, those stories are so powerful. What well, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, right? Because it's that the stories are so powerful, and yet so when we're actually focused on the problem, and when we've got these unconscious beliefs running around, and you know, the ancestral stories that we're working through and we're transforming, you know, they're showing up in our life and they're creating drama and challenges, which also have the gifts, so it's all good. And when we can get the lessons, when we can listen and we can get the higher perspective and see what's going on, then we're not so caught up in it. We can step back and we can actually choose and transform, because you know, we're amazing creators. So I think sometimes that, you know, we want to take the glory for creating the good things, and then we kind of sometimes can go into a bit of victim, well, I didn't create that, right? But we're always creating.
Yes, and the thing is that's again coming down to self-love, right? Is to love it all, to embrace it all, say, actually I did have that crappy experience. Yeah, actually that was really, really hard. But still not staying completely stuck in it. You know, I don't know, we were talking about this earlier too. You know, I've had a really challenging winter. My winter has been like no other, really. You know, I really felt, and it's really interesting watching myself going, does this mean this? And what does this mean? And why am I still here? And why haven't I worked on this? Or whatever it might be. But honestly, you know, it's sometimes just peeling another layer of that, or it's giving us another perspective that we haven't looked at. So the point is not to bash ourselves for having that story, because otherwise you're just perpetuating not loving yourself, right? But still not using it as an excuse or as a reason to kind of say, well, that's it, I'm never going to do that again, or I'm just going to stay stuck. But really, I don't know about you, but I use it as motivation now. I use it as a reason for me to go, how can I love more? How can I show up more? How can I be happier? How can I really be more of myself? Because if I'm unhappy, that means I'm not being myself, you know? So if I get in a grouchy mood, I'm like, oh, great. That means I get to choose again. Or that means I get to say, how do I want this to look now? Or how can I never have as bad a winter as I just had, you know? So so it's, to me it's kind of like turning my pain into my power, literally saying that is not going to happen. I am done with that. You know, how can I actually have a better experience? And sometimes, I don't know about you, but the contrast gives me that reason to move forward. Yes.
It's making me laugh because yesterday I saw, I think it was Coronation Street, I think so, or it might have been Emmerdale, something. I don't like watch them, right? And it was just kind of like, it happened to be on, and it was just all drama, and I thought, you know what? Just quickly switch that off. But I can kind of laugh at my own drama sometimes, you know. And I think that's what helps me to kind of like observe it. You know, there's a period where you're kind of like really in it and feeling it, and you can get stuck there, and then actually, you know, kind of having that sense of humor and just laughing and you know, kind of like, you know, we all create some drama at some point. So, but yesterday when I watched that, I was kind of like, I got enough of my own stuff that I can create. I didn't need to watch that. Kind of like, that was a drama, you know, turn it off. It's just all moan and negative, you know, it's funny.
And it's really interesting because when somebody, when I was talking to a client the other day about this very thing, because she was saying how, you know, how challenging it was and how she wanted to change her life, and you know, and I was just saying the fact that you have that awareness is part of the, or a huge part of the puzzle, because when we're in a lot of pain, or we're in a big drama, or we've had a lot of drama through our lives, I don't think you can necessarily even see it as that. You can't really see it as something that you even need to change. So the kind of that frustrated feeling, or that like, why is this happening, or whatever it is that's causing us to want the change, is actually a really good thing, because it shows that she, or whoever it is, was seeing like, actually this doesn't work for me anymore, this isn't working, I want to have a different experience. So I think just sometimes the awareness, and like you say, sometimes that can be 24 hours and sometimes that can be 24 years, but you know, we can have that moment where we go, oh, actually that's kind of funny, because oh, I can really see that, whereas when we're really in it, it's not funny at all, is it? You know. So, but yes, it's funny actually. I just pulled a card, I think, for the weekly reading, and it was the Queen of Air. And the Queen of Air is about clearing a lot. But actually, one of the messages in that is, you know, seeing the humor and the light in the situation. So it's just what you were saying, and you know, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength to do that. But, you know, we really have to, because the world needs us to lighten up right now, doesn't it?
For sure. Yeah.
It's really,
That's kind of like one of my mantras at the moment is joy. What's going to bring me joy? You know, where can I have fun, and who can I play with, and how can, because I think, again, if we're in that joy, then we're contributing and we're helping raise everybody's vibration and energy, you know.
Yeah, you know, I really feel it might sound simplistic to some people, because lots of us feel like we have to do certain things, or we have certain roles that we have to play, and of course we all have that to a certain extent, but you know, really joy and being that joy, because that's our natural essence, that really is, that's it. You know, that's the focus, right?
That's your purpose.
Right, exactly. So even if we feel like, oh boy, you know, that class didn't do what I wanted it to do, or oh, that person, or you know, if we get attached to all this thing, then actually we often lose the reason why we wanted to do it in the first place, which is the joy. And I really, you know, I think a lot of us are, you know, those of us who've even been of lots of service, done lots of things, been available to a lot of people, are really having to look at what that is, going, does this really, you know, is this really bringing me joy, or is it just because I feel like I should do it, or somebody else is telling me I need to, or because I think that is a good idea, or a good person, or and you know, it's okay to question what that joy is, because we're going into an energy which is a really new beginning. So the new beginning is saying, what is it? What do you want to create? What is it that brings you joy? And that can be really challenging, because it means that we have to ask lots of different things, and we have to stop things and start new things. But that's also what's going to create this new wave of joy that we're all asking for. You know, so I'm excited about it. It kind of feels like we're in a bit uncharted territory, doesn't it? But,
definitely.
But it's also exciting, because we get to say, yeah, what is going to bring us joy in this moment, not in 10 years, in this moment, and how is that going to allow us to create something for ourselves and for each other? So, yeah, it's exciting when you know that.
Yeah, and I think that because Gail, I was having this you know, because these conversations are cropping up. There's just so much going on, I think, with the energy right now. But yeah, 2017 is a 1 year, and I think what's being called of us is almost like like the phoenix. It's like a reinvention of who we are, and an opportunity to reflect and align more closely with our purpose or our joy. Because for people, you know, that's such a common question, isn't it, around purpose? And I always say, well, you know, God doesn't care what you want to do.
No.
Not about what, you know, what God, what you know, what's my purpose, or what does God want me to do? It's like, what do you want to do? Yeah,
Yeah,
what makes you
exactly.
happy? What would you love to do? And so this is what now, you're right, sometimes we've been doing things and they may have brought us joy at one point, but now maybe there's a shift coming, you know. So
I think
it's always about choice and following our hearts.
absolutely. And you know, us as creative people and sensitive people and people that are often multi-talented and, you know, aware of different things, I think it's definitely fair to say that we don't just do one thing. You know,
Mhm,
it's not
mhm.
about just saying, I'm going to do these sessions for the rest of my life, or I'm going to
Yeah.
sing, or I'm going to, for me, I'm going to write, or oh, actually, I'm just going to do this one thing. It's never going to be that way.
Uh-huh,
So we've got
uh-huh.
to stop kind of saying that is, we have to find our one purpose, because actually, if we try and focus our energy just on one thing for the rest of our lives, we're going to freak
Mhm,
out and we're not going to be
mhm.
happy. And I'm finding a lot like you that people are just going, yeah, I want something new. I want to do something
Mhm,
new. So even if
mhm,
that has a similar vein to it, there's a different way that we're working. And I feel like you and I are
mhm.
both doing that at the same time
Yes,
as well,
yes,
right? So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So tell us a
So
little bit more about the angels, Anna, because you know I know you work a lot with angels in terms of yeah, how people can work more closely with their angels.
sure. Well, I believe that we all have guardian angels. We were all born with them. They chose to come to be with us when we decided to come to Earth. So it was like, okay, we're going to come to Earth, so they're going to come with us. And we all have unique guardian angels that we can call upon at any time. And then obviously there are archangels that can help us with specific roles. And so I always like to say you don't really have to know all of their names, but it's like if
Mhm,
I know your name, it's going to feel a little bit more personal and a little bit more like I know who I'm talking to. So sometimes it can be
yeah.
helpful to get to know. And actually, you know, one of the angels has been really present recently is Archangel Raziel.
Mhm,
Raziel is, I call him like the Harry Potter wizard kind of angel, old sage feeling, you
mhm,
know. And he's very he seems very present. You know, I was doing an event last week where I was giving mini readings to people, and I was listening to a talk actually about half an hour before about the one energy and about these new beginnings that we were talking about.
uh-huh,
And I had a deck of cards in my hands, and four times in the same place, Raziel came up 4 times
mhm,
in a
mhm,
row, the same card in this whole deck of cards. And I was like,
mhm.
okay, there's something going on here. And it was all about our spiritual growth, all about
Mhm.
us really feeling more connected. And I just feel like they want us very simply just to ask them, first of all. You know,
Yeah.
so working with them includes saying, oh, right, yeah, I believe that you're here to help me. Thank you for helping me. Can you help me on my path? Because they're sometimes waiting for us to actually ask for
Mhm,
what we need and what we want,
mhm.
because they can't help us unless we ask them. So the basic,
Yeah.
really basic way is just to simply ask them, you know, thank you for helping me. I really would love your assistance with blah, blah, blah. And so it is. And just
Mhm.
really doing it as if they're already helping, so that you're inviting
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But the angels are really wanting us to get clear. And by that, I mean, they want us to get clear on our intention, not all the details all the time. What is our intention? Even if it's just like joy, love, peace. I want to do this to create more of this. Whatever it is,
Mhm.
because it's a new beginning, they are literally waiting for us to um to be more expressive about that and to really be open to what that looks like for us. So Raziel's a great angel if you want to work on that clarity, if you want to have help manifesting your desire or what you really
Mhm.
want. And he's a rainbow. He's like a bright, beautiful rainbow of energy and very present in clear quartz. Most people will know clear quartz
Mhm.
crystal. So if you want to work with him, you can hold a piece of clear quartz crystal and really call upon his energy to help you to, one, first of all, get the clarity, and to two, give you those steps to help you to create or co-create the life that you dream of.
Beautiful.
So yeah, there's so many things that you could say, but they're really wanting us to ask and to be clear this year. So ask and be clear. Yeah.
And you know, that's not kind of like a little thing, that's a big thing, because most people, when I'm working with people, that is the biggest thing for them to actually recognize or discover what it is that they do want to create, because they usually tell you what they don't want to create, right?
For sure, for sure, because we're all like, oh, I'm really fed up with this, I don't want this, I haven't got enough of this, I don't have enough money, I haven't. It's like, well, what do you want then? What do you really want? And it's really true. And again, that is another aspect of self-love, isn't it? To really understand that, you know, you don't have to have money or lots of opportunities to love yourself, but it's a part of you living a human experience, saying, if I'm going to be here, I want to feel really supported, I want to feel really joyful, and all of those things help me to do that. So
yeah, and I think what you were saying just now about the intentions, which is kind of what's coming up for me around that, is it's about the energy, because sometimes when we're trying to create projects, we kind of can go into our heads and kind of try and figure it all out, you know, but actually just not, you don't have to be clear on all of the details, you just kind of have to have that intention of you know, what it is that what's the energy of what you're creating, and how do you want to feel. Because when we're creating from that place of frustration and what we don't want, then we end up creating more of that. Whereas when we just get into the love or the joy, that's just whatever you want to create, being in that space is going to create something beautiful.
Right. And that again comes down to that whole comparison thing, because the one thing that has blocked me or made me feel like I'm blocked in recent months is because I feel like what is bringing another person joy should be bringing me joy. And then when I realize actually that's never going to happen, it's much easier for me to then actually just live, right? Because I'm not basing it on someone else's opinion or someone else's you know, what their dream is. And actually when I come back to me, I realize, like, that's not even really what I want to be working on, or that's not, but actually, okay, so this is, so that is the clarity too, isn't it? Not comparing and just really being honest. Do I want it because other people want it, or do I really want it? You know, is this something that's really going to bring me that contentment and that peace and that fulfillment? And if it isn't, that's okay. You know, if it isn't, but if you're not honest with yourself about that, it's not going to change.
Yeah, love that. So yeah, going inside and taking time to really connect with our heart and what we truly want, and asking the angels, having that clarity.
For sure, because you know, you and I work differently. We have the same intention, maybe, but different aspects of that bring us joy, don't they? You know, like there are certain things that you're doing that are really unique to you, and if you didn't do them, then the world would be missing out. Similarly to me, you know. So it's great that we're all doing similar things, but it's like a tapestry. We're kind of all coming together with our different threads, and that's what makes the world exciting and life, you know, so varied all the time. Actually, the angels are saying to me that we think that, you know, they have, you know, they're so unlimited and they have, you know, all this energy, and they're not limited by our body, you know, because I often had that conversation, you know, it's not fair, I have a body, I'm not used to this body thing, I don't get it, you know. And they would say, yes, we understand that, but you, from where you are, have all of these choices, all of these experiences, all of these opportunities, and you get to create that on a physical plane. And isn't that amazing? You know, and so we could think, oh, fabulous, it must be great, you know, not to be trapped in this human body that is maybe limited compared to perhaps them. But actually they're saying, but we have a physical body in order to create all of these amazing different experiences, and we've come here to have those different experiences. So we don't need to say, oh, we have to be in heaven for us to be amazingly joyful or to not be limited. We just have to make the most of the experience that we have and realize maybe we're not so limited after all, you know.
I feel like it's about creating our heaven on earth, you know, and when we're doing what makes us joyful, then that's what we're creating, the heaven. It's within us and around us when we're actually being
For
that love and
sure.
that joy.
Otherwise, we're missing the whole point, aren't
Yeah,
we? We're missing
yeah.
it completely because we're saying that is a better experience. You know, to not be human is a better experience, but it isn't. It's just a different experience, right? It's a completely different experience, and it's amazing. Yeah.
I love how you've embraced your what you call your pain and you know that kind of wound. I always feel like the wound is the gift, and part of our message and part of our purpose, and that's, you know, our soul sets us up on this journey in that way. So I love that you're, you know, sharing that, and I think you're such an inspiration to so many people, you know. Yeah,
You know,
truly.
thank you. I will say thank you because I'm learning to remember that is part of me receiving of a nice, lovely compliment. But I would also say that the greatest thing that you know, that you could honor that for me, or anyone could honor that, is to do that themselves. You know, because if we really do that, each of us, and say, yeah, this was the most painful thing, but I'm pretty sure my soul knew what it was doing. I'm pretty sure I made those choices. So how can I really use that? How can I be really using that to make the most of my life and the most of other people's, you know, experience, so that they maybe don't have to quite go through what I did. And yeah, I think that's what I'm motivated by, honestly. You know, that is what motivates me, to share that love, to share that hope, to share the fact that we're all in this together. And then all the other stuff to me is just details.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so you have a wonderful free gift that you're offering. So do you want to share about your gift, and then we'll put the link up on the website so people can access that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my major joys, or it's been something that I've loved so much, is to sing. I love music, and I feel really connected when I sing. And I recently, you know, went back in the recording studio, did another song. It's been a long time coming, actually. And it's a song I co-wrote by a dear friend of mine called Jo Beth Young. And it's called You Saved Me. And it's really, the message is, we can have all this love and support. We can, you know, be uplifted. We can be supported. But really, we're the ones who can save ourselves. And to me, that's the empowering thing about it, is, yes, we are in this experience together, but we have to make the choice. And that's what that song is about.
Love it, so powerful. So we'll put the links up so people can access your MP3. That'll be amazing. And if people want to find out more about working with you, then they can go to your website.
Absolutely, AnnaGraceTaylor.com. There's information about my angel readings, my healing sessions, my coaching, all my, you know, social media links. I'm, you know, very present on Facebook, especially. Really excited to, you know, be at 1 million followers, and, you know, like that, my younger self is like, wow, really? And so I feel like that's just a way that I get to share the messages. And honestly, I think it works for me because I love it so much. So if you want to find me there, you can find all the website links and everything to AnnaGraceTaylor.com.
Fabulous. So I'm sure there'll be lots of people checking you out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. It's just been such a joy to reconnect with you and to be able to share your love, your message on the show.
You're very welcome, and I'm so honoured that you would ask me. And you inspire me, and I just feel really privileged that I get to show up with people that are doing amazing work. So thank you.
Likewise. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed, and I'm sure there's lots of juicy nuggets there, lots of soul tips that you can pick up. So until we speak again, I'm going to say much love and many blessings. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Wealthy Business Goddess Show. If you've enjoyed the show, subscribe and review our podcast. Sign up to receive your Wealthy Business Goddess resources and join us in the Wealthy Business Goddess community at www.lovekimberly.com/WBG. To find out more about how Kimberly can support you in creating the life and business of your dreams, or to watch the show via video, visit the website at www.kimberlylovell.com.